Welcome to Speed Data, quick conversations with cybersecurity leaders. I'm your host, Megan Garza. I'm excited to welcome Avi Yoshi, CTO and Solutions Sales Leader for Microsoft Israel. Thank you so much for being on the show, Avi.
Thank you, Megan. I'm very excited to participate in the show, and I hope that our audience will have a good time.
I know they will. With over 2 decades of experience in the IT industry, Avi's passion lies in harnessing technology's potential to drive innovation and foster positive change in our rapidly evolving world. Avi guides organizations through the complexities of public and hybrid cloud, ensuring they maximize their potential, and uses the transformative power of generative AI to create intelligent, data-driven solutions. Avi bridges the gap between technical and non-technical stakeholders, ensuring seamless communication and collaboration, and is skilled in data and application security, data analytics, endpoint protection, and application modernization. Avi, how did you get started in cloud security?
Yeah, I'm too old, so I'll not remember all the details. But I will try to bring the most important one. I started, by the way, being as a simple networking technician. Okay, this was my real background, so I was very experienced in networking. But then quite fast, I moved to network security. It was, somewhat natural movement for me. So this is where I exposed myself to firewall, to IDS, to DDoS. So I learned all the network security in depth because it was correlated to my networking experience. And I think that later on in my career, I moved to private cloud company. It was VMware that when moving to VMware, I exposed mostly to virtualization and then, shifting towards security in the landscape of compute or virtualization compute. So moved beyond the network and security, and VMware was a player in that promote private cloud technologies. So this is where I also developed myself to cloud security. And of course, in the last 3 years, being the CTO at Microsoft Israel, which is a public cloud vendor, I'm putting a lot of my time around cloud security in many aspects. If it's infra security, data security, endpoint, servers, really in Microsoft, I'm enjoying, touching a very wide border of technology aspect due to the fact that Microsoft is playing mostly around everything in the tech area and the solution areas that we're providing to our customers. So, and in every angle, by the way, including CRM, ERP, and low code, no code, I found myself investing many of the times around regulation, compliance, and security. So probably every day and every hour, I'm dealing with security stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of cloud security, what do you think most organizations misunderstand about cloud security?
Yeah, so I was in two sides of the court. So I came from the on-prem side when I worked at VMware mainly. So I worked with the IT that provided solutions and system for the on-prem. So I was used to see how they are working with security controls within the on-prem. And now that I'm in Microsoft trying to migrate those customers to the public cloud, I see that, the customers are trying to mimic and replicate not just the same technologies and solutions, but somewhat the same methodologies from the on-prem to the cloud, which is unfortunately cannot be mimicked. It's not the same. I think the main principle that security operations needs to understand when moving to cloud, this is a shared responsibility ecosystem. When you are moving to the public cloud, you need to know that you will not control 100% of the asset because partly it's a shared responsibility with the cloud provider, with the hyperscaler, that taking some controls on your, I would say, ecosystem or environments, because the cloud provider needs to protect his environment too, and is also obligated to put controls on the infrastructure where the customer are not exposed, they are not because they are not owning the end-to-end infrastructure. I think this is the main gap that I see, because by not understanding this philosophy that it's a shared responsibility, and let's understand what I need to do and what the hyperscaler is doing, and I need to put my faith with the hyperscaler also.
Yeah, but so you would just assume that your SaaS provider or IaaS provider is going to take care of everything and you don't have to worry about securing any of the data, that can be problematic.
I do agree. I do agree.
And what do you foresee as the biggest threat or risk to cybersecurity on the horizon?
Oh, wow. I think that this is a very important question because maybe if you will ask me the same question in 2 weeks from now or 1 month from now, maybe we will add additional, I would say, threat to the list. Because, yeah, this domain is really evolving. I see it in both sense. Unfortunately, we see huge involvement on the bad guys that, always find new methods and new tools to overcome our fences and mitigations that we want to do. So this is one hand that we also always need to be on watch. And the second thing, I think that also a lot of innovation and re-innovation around the cybersecurity defense, especially with the AI. But if I need to list at least the biggest threat that I see currently, in high risk in this area, the AI-enabled attack. I think this is something that every organization, every CISO, even organization that just, thinking about AI, using AI or implementing AI, something that they look, in a way, what the attackers will do with such, let's call it weapon in their hands. I think that now phishing involved with the AI can be much more sophisticated, that the AI can really mimic very smart phishing attacks. So now it's become even more, I would say, important. Data poisoning is an area that I think that many customers do concern. I think that also Varonis is playing huge role in data protection, and I'm sure that Megan, you see the same about those risks of data poisoning. It's not just grabbing my data or stealing my data, is actually manipulating my data, my training data for AI, and then the attacker can manipulate the outcome without stealing the data. So this is very concerned topic that I see. And I think that the most one that I see as an uplift is the nation state actors that are playing out there. And this is very, I would say, important stuff, because if a nation attack or nation state actors want to attack not just countries, but also very important institute, I think that this is something that, they have the time, they have the resources, there's education. And I think, such organization is to look for very broader defense mechanism.
So then what is the best way to defend against an AI-driven attack?
So I think that, at the end, it's all start with hygiene. So not, of course, we understand why hygiene is important in real life, but hygiene in cybersecurity is, I think that starting from hygiene, patching and updating regularly, okay, with system, I think that this is the most important. Always keep your software up to date. It's like sound, very common. Of course, I need to patch and I need to update. It makes sense, but not all organizations are excelled in that domain. I think that starting and being very obsessed around this patching and updating is something that at least is the top in my list. Strong authentication is the second one. We see in Microsoft huge, I would say, increase in password attack area. The number of attacks around the identity and password, stolen password, is in rise. And I think that customer needs to take into consideration the multi-factor authentication for every service and for every application, and even for the old application. I do see that, customer says, okay, for my next generation application, SaaS applications, yeah, MFA, but what will I do with my 20 years old system that is not supporting MFA? There are solutions, there are technologies in place that can also bring MFA to those kind of old legacy systems.
And like you said, sometimes it's as simple as just the basics, patching, MFA, the things that you might take for granted that, oh, everybody already knows that. But to your point, they don't always do that.
I agree.
So what advice do you have for other security leaders on first steps when discovering a vulnerability or exploit attempt?
First, run.
Yeah.
Run and hide. Maybe someone else will take it. No, I'm just kidding. I can, give some examples, but I think that at the end, at least when I'm meeting CISOs and, security leaders, I think that they are quite focused, and I think that they are putting this as the first priority in their organization. So I'm quite relaxed when I'm meeting those kind of leaders. But I think that the main thing that I see is, of course, assess the situation. We know the nose to ratio. So we don't need to, every event or incident that is coming into the SOC room needs to alert the entire organization, because at the end it will be, false alarms, and probably we'll miss the real stuff. So this is one, to assess the situation in real, because you need to pay focus on what is really happening and not on the white noise.
And what skills make security professionals great at what they do?
I think that, the skill is that if after 20 years of dealing with security attacks and all the pressure, they are still in that role. So I guess they have the right recipe
Yeah.
for being security professionals. But I think that analytical thinking is a must-have skills in the security area, because in that security, the involvement of a very smart attack and advanced attacks, you need to analyze complex situation in order to really understand between all the noise, and to isolate between all the noise the real event or the real incident. So it's a complex situation where the attackers always trying to be very unique and to create attacks that has never seen before. And the defenders, those security professionals, needs always to be, in advance. So analytical thinking, I think it's something that is very important. Collaboration or teamwork. You are not, security is a team effort, and we need to play as a team in order to gain advantage over those attackers. Attention to details. I think that this is where, and it's always a correlate with the analytical thinking, and I think go together. And adaptability, I think, staying current and adjusting, because it's an evolving area. Okay, new attacks, new technology, new defense. So you need to be very adaptive, because this is not a stagnation area that, once I know something for 10 years, this is what I need to know, and that's it. You need to evolve and adapt yourself to changes.
Yeah, it's constantly changing.
I agree.
Can you share the one thing that you wish future cybersecurity professionals knew?
Wow. I think, answering that in advance, in the future, I think that, again, importance of continuous learning. I think that this is the really important stuff, because if you know if your background is quite solid, okay, but you are continuously learning, if it's through intelligence, if it's, what new threats are coming, and learning from others what they was exposed, and you are bringing this, insights, okay, and knowledge internally to yourself. I think that this is the most important. I think that what they need to hold quite strong, because we cannot know 2 years from now or 5 years from now what will be the new technology or whatever, but your knowledge, evolving knowledge, is your power.
Yeah. And lastly, if you weren't in cybersecurity, what would you be doing?
I would like to be pastry chef.
A pastry chef.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, you would get along with my husband.
yeah. And you know that I planned it in advance.
Uh-huh.
I do have a certificate,
Really?
professional pastry chef, but I'm planning it, when I will not be able to adapt myself to the changing landscape on technology and security, and maybe I will go to that route. Frankly saying, I don't see myself, not being in this area. I'm more than 20 years. I love technology, okay, in every aspect of it. I think that this is the energy for me, because I always like to learn, and I always like to be on the, let's say, the good side, the protector. So I think that this is the challenges, and you want to have challenges in your personal life. I think that also in work, and this is the challenges to our customers and to do good in the ecosystem.
Okay, so now I have to know, what is the best pastry or recipe that you make?
So I learned the French cuisine in that regard. So the entire tart, I would say, landscape that you can imagine. So it's very precise, like
Very
in my work.
meticulous?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
technical and stuff like that. You need to prepare in advance. You need to have a plan
Mm-hmm.
when you are reaching to this one. So I think that, it correlates with my profile. because pastry can be really, it's very accurate. It's like, doing some kind of engineering. It sounds like me. So I think that this can be in me in 20 years from now. Maybe I will do it for my child and stuff like that. But maybe on our next time, Megan, I will bring something.
Yes,
Yeah, maybe.
you do. Well, thanks for joining me on Speed Data today, Avi. I enjoyed chatting with you. I know our audience appreciates your insight around the importance of continuous learning. Thank you again.
Thank you, Megan. Pleasure.